It's another Spikers Turf Sunday inside the Philoil Center in San Juan City for your 2026 Spikers Turf Open Conference. As we take a look at the teams entering the venue, we have 3 matches slated for you today. It'll be the 3B Event Masters taking on the AEP Cabstars for our first match of this triple header. As we check out the schedule in our games today, again 3B versus AEP, followed by VNS and Alpha Insurance and Savoj versus Crisscross. Thank you so much for joining us over on One Sports Plus and the Pilipinas Live app. Dip Dipianco alongside Alfred Balbuena giving you the match. Alfred, long time no see.
Yeah.
Kahapon lang magkasama tayo covering a different league.
Yeah, it was the UAP yesterday. So yeah, it's great to be back here in the Spikers Turf, not as a player or anything else, but as an analyst.
Of course, you're very familiar with some of the players who are suiting up for this matchup. We'll talk about them in just a bit. Pero unahin muna natin yung team standing so far and how it looks like. This is the final game day of our elimination round. So please kindly give us a picture of how it looks like in our tournament.
Yeah, as you can see, you have 2 teams on top, Crisscross and Savoj with 4-0, and that will be the matchup later. That will be a fun one, and that will determine who would stay undefeated after this first round. While for our matches for today, Cabstar and 3B Event Masters both having the same standing with 1-3. So same thing. They want to, of course, end this first round with a win, and hopefully they'll gain that momentum going into the second round.
Alam mo, pag tinignan mo yung team standings, yung AEP at 3B, magkatabi.
Yes.
So this matchup is a good gauge of who the top 4 teams could be entering the semifinals of our tournament. But we'll talk more about that later on. Huwag natin pangunahan yan because we have 2 more matches will be played later on today. All right, let's talk about the first team, yung 3B Event Masters. They played against a tough squad in their last outing nung Thursday, last Friday rather, and they were the first team actually to give Crisscross their first set loss in the tournament.
Yeah, that was really unexpected for the 3B Event Masters. No? Of course, Crisscross, they played a different first 6 in that first set. So maybe that they were new again coming into that match. And pinaghandaan talaga sila dito ng 3B. As you can see, 25-22 in that first set. That's the first set loss of Crisscross. With the stats, 54-38. Same thing, Crisscross na naeg because of the... Siyempre, nagising ng Crisscross second set. 10 points lang binigay nila, 13-15. And you know, the former champions here, ayaw nila magpatalo. Siyempre, they want to play with all their might and of course show their talent as well.
No, you said it best doon, no, Crisscross. I'm sure when they lost that first set, they regrouped. Pag-usapan nila, this can't be happening to the defending champions, and they asserted their dominance in the next 3 sets. But at least there were some bright spots still for the 3B Event Masters, specifically one of their players, Carl Berdal, who was a former NCAA Finals MVP. Well, he played a great game, scored in double digits.
Yeah, he scored 12 points versus that loss against Crisscross with 11 attacks and a block. He is now tied with Jude Garcia in the number 1 position in terms of scoring in our tournament with 65 points. You know, there's a former MVP in the NCAA really showing his MVP prowess in their last matchup. A lot coming from his attacks. And of course, kailangan din dito ng 3B is more assistance coming from his teammates here in order for them to win this match. Especially they need to pass well and activate more coming from their middle attackers.
Well, they need to duplicate that performance, talking about Carl Berdal, and a lot more help from the rest of his teammates. Lipat tayo sa kabila for the AEP Cabstars. Also suffered a loss against one of the top teams in our tournament against Savoj Aesthetics. They get yung first 2 sets, Alfred, but in the third one, they pulled away and lost that one in 3 sets.
You know, the composition of this squad, young Cabstars, a lot coming from a Signal. So again, their matchup against Crisscross, they were really having a great momentum there. because you know everyone was playing well. Talagang pinahirapan nila ng crisscross. Kala ko nga magdadala na going into that Savoj game.
Yeah.
Pero it's still Savoj leading that way with a lot coming from the attacks. And of course, the blocks, yun talaga yung department that played a huge factor in that Savoj win against 3B. So now they need to adjust more in terms of attacking or making that, having a lot of plays or executions coming from the back row and of course coming from the middle as well.
We'll see the results of what they trained for after that loss. But let's talk about one guy that is recently added into the roster of AEP Cabstars, a guy that you know because you played with him for a while, and then now he is with the Cabstars. Jared Schnacki slithering in for his new home.
Yeah, the Phil Am standout coming from California. He is a versatile player because he can really play a lot of positions in terms of volleyball. He can play as a setter.
Yeah.
He played outside. He played opposite. So talagang kayang-kaya nang i-manage. Sometimes we go for that 4-2 play before in Signal. Now he is with the Cabstar showcasing his might. And hopefully that this will be a great addition to the Cabstars in the run for that semifinal spot.
At partida dahil halos wala pang training yan kasama yung bagong team niya. Bagong addition lang si Jared Schnacki. So let's see if he'll be able to produce that same numbers in this matchup today, as we invite you all to join our conversation on our social media pages. Just use the hashtag SpikerSurf2026 and get a chance to get featured on our Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, X rather, and all of our social media pages. All right, let's turn you over to the venue announcer for the start of this match.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Triple Header Sunday here at the SpikerSurf 2026 Open Conference, where power meets passion. Live at Phil Oil Center San Juan is the preliminary rounds match number 13, featuring 3B Events Masters Production and Entertainment and their challengers, the AEP Cabstars. Officiating this match, our first referee, Mr. Ryan Vincent Corpus, National Referee. Second referee, Ms. Jocelyn Del Rosario, International Referee. Let us meet the starters. First, for 3B Event Masters. Let's start with our team captain at number 13, Bonjamar Castel. At number 1, JM Valdelovar. Number 5, Carl Berdal. Jersey number 9, Israel Encina. Number 17, KD Dainata. At 19, Christian Olaes. Their starting libero, number 11, Joshua Datu. Head coach is Mr. RJ Francisco. Now, calling on the AEP Cabstars. Let's start with number 5, their game captain, EJ Casanya. At number 9, Jaira De La Noche. Number 13, Nas Guaza. Number 14, Vince Abroad. 23, George Schnacki. At 25, Gabriel Magsino. Their starting libero, number 24, Vince Lorenzo. Head coach is Kitty Antiporta. Is the 3B Event Masters versus AEP Cabstars. SpikerSurf 2026 Open Conference.
Let's check out the starters for the 3P Event Masters. Olaes, Berdal, Valdelovar, Encina, Dainata, and Castel. Meanwhile, the libero will be Naife. And for
the AEP Cabstars, Abrot, Guaza, Casania, De La Noche, Magsino, Schnacky, and Vince Lorenzo. And you're very familiar with these guys, Alfred. Halos lahat ng starters sila were your former teammates in Signal. So, hindi naman nagkakalayo dahil red din yung jersey. So, very familiar faces in their new squad here as they face the 3B Event Masters. We talked about it at the top of the coverage, how this is a good gauge dahil nga alam natin who are the teams that are dominating at the top of the team standings. But because they are tied sa ating tournament, you kind of have a feel who can get that 4th spot in the semifinals.
This will be a long one and a fun one as well.
Pinangunahan mo na yung long one, ha? And first point goes to 3B Event Masters.
And again, now you can see 3B activating the middle right away because that would be their bread and butter here, especially you know, a lot of players coming from the NCAA also are playing for 3B.
Schnacky will get his first look and score his first point.
There you go. Again, Jared Schnacky, ever versatile player. I just want to share, wala pa siyang 1 year dito sa Philippines, no?
Yeah.
Si Jared Schnacky. He went here last August, late August, no?
Yeah. Very new to the Philippine volleyball scene.
And his first time also stepping in the Philippine soil.
No, interestingly, you mentioned that as Abrot will spike. And that will drop for 3B Event Masters.
Now Encina again scoring for them. This time one of their setters, Jeremy Valdelovar, also played for the UP Fighting Maroons here.
3-1. Abrot will try again. Ball slowed down. The attack goes wide for 3B Event.
This time Encina now playing as an opposite hitter. So same thing for 3B, a lot of options. And they need to just execute and run their system well.
Guaza. That one picked up. And they break the block.
Yeah, Dayanata, they're scoring that off the hands of De La Noche. Smarter play there, seeing that pull.
Back set to De La Noche. Floor defense has been good so far for 3B. They will give up a free ball. Casania, captain, back to J-Rack, and De La Noche scores.
And J-Rack De La Noche always ready here in terms of attacking, especially, you know, he is a lefty. And a great find also coming from EJ Casania, giving that confidence and trust towards his spikers there.
Valdelovar, the setup to the slide of Castel.
Yan yung mga sinasabi ko dito. Couldn't count the middle blockers here of 3B because all of them are really known middle blockers coming from their era in the NCAA. Especially Jeremy Valdelovar, also one of great setters from the Fighting Maroons.
Abrot hesitated. Second try for the red shirts. J-Rack from the back. It drops.
Great find again coming from EJ Casania. This time coming from the deep ball. I know talagang minsan na practice namin coming from the signal. It's nice seeing them playing back here and still adapting that connection.
Yeah. That's something that they could bank on in terms of the familiarity. Although it's a different system for sure, but at least yung connection ng bawat isa nandyan. Dainata was checked. Back to Dainata, and it is out.
Yeah, because he had 3 blockers in front Again, a last option for that is just to let the ball brush off the fingertips or the hand of the blockers there, but too much angle on that hit.
5-all here in the first set. Baldelivar goes back to Dainata. Had to use the offhand. Casania goes to Schnacky, and Jared tried to go down the line, but it was out.
Yeah, no blockers there on that area. I know Jared would get that point back. But for the Cabstars here, they need to go for that counter-attack. Sayang, nakadepensa sila coming off the block, pero that execution coming from the attack.
First ball from Lorenzo leads to the middle attack of Guaza.
Yeah, great play coming from EJ Casania. Almost a broken play there, saved by Casania, setting up towards Guaza. Yun yung maganda kay Nasay. Masipag siyang pumasok ng pumasok.
Baldelivar, their turn to go to the middle, doesn't work. Jared will attack. Saved by 3B. Cabstars do the same. Abroad from behind.
Again, that D-ball, that pipe attack here, and that D-ball from the Cabstars has been working perfectly from EJ Casania and the Spikers.
And they take the lead here in the first set. 76. Guaza on deck to serve. Good ball from Dainata. They go outside. De La Noche with a save. Play on. Tried to go for that tough angle. Back to the outside. Berdal couldn't seem to score. Good dig by Datu. Dainata. Medyo nailang siya dun sa attack line niya, and Schnacky will get the point.
Yeah, that was one of the longest rally of the match.
As we see this replay.
Yeah, you know, see Jared Schnacky, he wants those balls na yung mga matataas na medyo bukas sa net, because he has a lot of options there to spike the ball.
As we go to the first technical timeout.
You're still watching the Spikers Turf Open Conference 2026, where power meets passion. Now let's talk about the 3B Event Masters. Naikwento nga sa akin ni Head Coach RJ Francisco that syempre today's game is going to be a very experimental game for his team dahil napansin niya na wala pa talagang connection ang setters and middle blockers niya. They make good decisions as individuals but not together. Kaya kahapon nag-set siya ng open form scrimmage between them and there. Kailangan nilang sabihin kaagad kung pangit ba yung set or hindi swak, and they will be bringing that into action in today's game. Main setter naman, JM Baldelivar, also shared that he will be focusing mainly on setting the middle blockers up para ma-establish talaga yung connection for round 2. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Ayana, for that report. Well, 3B, as Schnacky scores another point. The 3B Event Masters, they did not play in the past 2 conferences in Spikers Turf. So, you know, and iba na rin yung composition ng team niyan. So obviously that connection is something to be worked on. But it's good what Ayana mentioned na sila Coach RJ, they worked on it. And hopefully that translated to this game.
Well, you know what, Dip? It's really important, no, that connection coming from the players. No? That's a great start coming from their coaching staff. Na syempre sila naman naglalaro sa loob ng court. So it's really that importance na kailangan magkaalaman sila on what set, yung comfortable sila, or anong gusto nilang height ng bola, the trajectory, the speed.
Yeah.
So yun yung maganda dito sa 3B, na they're really adjusting to their spikers. No?
At least for them, they get that point from Bertal. They've been trying to go to him here in set 1, as he was the leading scorer in their last match. At lost to Crisscross. One hand set by Casania to De La Noche, kept up. A high free ball given up. Valdelivar tosses. Bertal. Too long.
Yeah, outside there, coming from that hit. It's really nice on seeing the Cabstars covering that hitting area coming from Berdal, no? Scoring that site. Kaya nag-adjust siya in terms of hitting.
Naabangan ni Magsino. Nainata guides the ball. Espanso is now also in the game as the libero. Tried to save it, but unable to do so. That's a point for 3B.
Israel Encina that time spiking on that outside area. So a lot of options for him. Because, you know, sometimes if you're really that agile of a player, that high leaper, kahit saan ka mapunta sa court, kayang-kaya mo mapalo eh.
Off the block and out.
Yeah, Jared Schnaki, again, only his second game here
Yeah.
for Cabstars, no? And making his impact felt right away in the Spikers turf.
So just to add to what you were saying earlier, di ba wala pa siyang 1 year dito sa Philippines. Well, I got the chance to cover them in Alas Pilipinas back in New York. And actually, he was one of those na nag-try out diba, sa Phil-Am Nation Select. That's how he was discovered. And then Signal brought him to Manila to play for the Super Spikers. And then now suited up for a different team.
Yeah, I know he was planning to go back to the States this March. Pero yun, syempre,
Change of plans.
change of plans muna. Baka na mamimiss niya yung pag-volleyball because that's the reason,
Kala
that
ko.
main reason here is to play volleyball. Second na lang yung other stuff na
right.
kailangan gawin.
Yeah, you're right. I also heard that news that this March he was supposed to fly back,
Yeah.
but Cabstars gave him a call up, and he's here and helping out his squad.
Let's see, net fault, is there? Oh
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. It's Chesney Abrot. So great eyes there coming from the 3B Event Masters.
Malakas kasi mag-bench press si Vince. Eh,
Oo,
no?
kita mo eh. Bench press at baka mamaya lumamon.
2-point lead so far for Cabstars. It is Olaes on deck to serve for 3B. Guaza. That is outside. Back-to-back points for the Event Masters, and the lead down to 1.
Yeah, that set coming from Casania was quite high for Guaza. Pero sometimes it's all about adjustments. Eh. Pag nakita mo mataas, you have an option to just drop the ball or dump it as fast as you can.
Pinabawi ni Casania. Valdelivar with a chase.
Yeah.
3B able to save it.
One more time. Nope.
Backs it this time to De La Noche, but it was out.
Again, another error here on the side of the Cabstars. 8 errors already given up by the Cabstars, no? While only 3 for 3B Event Masters. 8, hindi pa tayo masyado, wala pa tayo sa kalahati.
So, Guaza finally getting that point. They've been trying to connect to him, but you were saying the errors. That's 2/3 of the points of 3B Event Masters galing sa
Error lang.
errors ng Cabstars.
So, they need to minimize that, no? Starting now.
Yeah, 13-12 is the score. Valdelivar back set. Then a point for Encina.
Yeah, I think that was a block touch. Check coming from Ruben Abrot. Again, it has been Encina scoring for 3B Event Masters here. So they need to adjust in terms of defense coming from the Cabstars, no? Ooh.
Service error though for him. Just as you mentioned, he's been leading the way for 3B in terms of scoring. Babawi dito, lumusot, joust, trickles back to the side of 3B. Dainata with a push. Castel, third try for the event masters. Wala pa rin. Nilipat sa kanan, and that's a point for Encina.
Yeah, that's his third point here in the match, no, coming from Encina. Again, not much of a high leaper this time, pero because of that spin coming from that hit, talagang lilipad doon ang bola going out of bounds.
Another deadlock here in the first set. But Dainata couldn't keep it in with that serve.
Again, they have been targeting that area, zone 1, in terms of passing on the Cabstars there.
Outside for Nasguaza, so also a service error for the AEP Cabstars.
Not helping for both squads. Let's see who will go up in the second technical timeout, because that will be crucial.
Here comes Schnacky, scores off the block.
And there you have it. Jared Schnocki bringing Cabstars up in the second technical timeout.
Spiking, Brian Bagunas. Receiving, Vince Lorenzo. Digging, Sandy Montero. Blocking, I go for Lloyd Josafat. Service, I go for J-Rock de la Noche. Setting, Owara Tamar. This is my perfect Spiker Stir player.
UAAP Season 88 Volleyball is in full swing. Watch the games every Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday on the Pilipinas Live app. Also available on the UAAP Varsity channel and One Sports, because legends start here. Just saw EJ Casanya build his
his
spiker.
Yeah.
Di naman obvious yun yung mga naging teammate niya dati.
Oo nga eh. Yun pa rin, no?
That time around, it went out for Schnacky, so we are tied at 16. It has been very close dito sa ating opening set.
Yeah, Jared Schnocki, the top scorer here for both squads with 6 points already, 5 coming from an attack and a block. But that time, he was trying to brush that ball off the fingertips of the blockers there, pero too much height on that.
Chance now for 3B to get the lead. Abrot, though, able to save. De La Noche fires. And that one drops for J-Rock.
Yeah, 3B needs to expect a lot of balls coming from J-Rock de la Noche if he is in the front line. No? So that connection between EJ and J-Rock has been superb since the signal times. No? Pero ngayon, still playing wise for J-Rock.
Naabangan ng blockers ng Cabstars. They go to the opposite. Play on. Back with the event masters. Berdal, down it goes.
What a sharp angle there coming from Carl Berdal. Seeing that the blockers waving the hands there, opening up that area. There you see that last instance, nakita niya nag-wave. Kaya nakita niya yung opening going for that deep cross.
Great dig. Magsino. Oh, somebody touched the net.
Yeah. Was Olais there brushing on the net despite blocking the ball. Pero yun, sometimes it's the initiative and that swing there. Ooh, that elbow.
On the way down,
Yeah.
no?
Kailangan talaga doon body control din.
Cabstars maintain the lead. Soriano serving off the bench. And siya getting na target dun.
Great play coming from 3B, going for a double quick. That was really challenging. That will be challenging for the blockers, especially kay Abrot.
Yeah.
Really seeing two attackers going for a quick play. Minsan, di mo alam kung sino talagang tatauhan mo dun. So, they need more communication in terms of blocking here for the Cabstars.
All is the score. Lorenzo. Underhand to Abrot. Tainata too low. It's a send over. Casania. Back sets to De La Noche.
Again, De La Noche scoring for the Cabstars. Rubens Abrot here having a hard time. Pero syempre, napapansin din naman dito ni EJ Casania that the blockers are always there in front of Abrot, and the defense also coming from 3B has been superb in terms of defending that Abrot hit.
Almost an ace. A 3B able to save. Chance for the Cabstars, and Guaza puts it in.
Better execution there on the side of Cabstars. Pero yun, kala natin mag-challenge.
It was a timeout called by Coach RJ Francisco. His team down by 2.
Pag pangit yung set, at least overhead, ilagay sa dulo. Kahit spin na mahina, okay lang. Huwag tayong magbibigay ng underhand. Kasi mas malakas yung balik sa atin eh. Okay? Kung mablock man kayo, okay lang. May nakakover naman eh. Okay? Ngayon, yung mga nakakover, bigyan ng kumpiyansa yung mga spiker pumalo para at least alam nila. Pablock man sila, may cover. Okay? O, galawang endgame. Dalawa lang yan. Hindi pa tapos yan. Okay? Lahat yung mga counters. Go!
Master!
Timeout called by the 3B event masters, who trailed by 2 points in set 1. But they have shown in this entire set, though, that they could stay close toe-to-toe against AEP Cabstars. And we expected this, Alfred, dahil nga sa team standings pareho sila ng win-loss card. J-Rack, going to the opposite direction, tried to save it.
Great initiative there and effort coming from the Cabstars, no? Especially that run coming from J-Rock De La Noche. Pero syempre, safety first, not attempting to jump over that barricade anymore.
Magpaturo kay Mars Alba.
Oo, mga ganun, no? Yung mga nasipal sa likod.
Vince Abrot swings and scores for the Cabstars.
Yeah, finally, Abrot now again scoring for the Cabstars. That's a perfect execution as well. Na kitang-kita ni EJ Casania that the blockers were committing towards the middle attackers of Cabstars, opening up Abrot for that single man block.
21-19 is the official score. Dainata. Rejected by the blockers of Cabstars. There was a 3-man block shown.
And that will be always automatic, no, sa system ng mga ng volleyball. If you can see that the play is already broken, going for a free ball, a high one. Why not commit right away for a 3-man block? Because you know you want to secure a block point right away.
Doon na papunta yun. Great dig coming from Espanso, and J-Rack finishes that sequence. What a play for AEP Cabstars.
Good thing that the Cabstars here has been superb or on point in terms of counter-attack. Nakakadepensa sila ng maayos, and the spikers coming from the Cabstars are always there, eager to score at point right away.
It was 18 all a while ago. Now a 5-1 run. Make that 6-1 for the Cabstars after that service ace by Vince Abrot.
Yeah, a great adjustment there on that serve coming from Abrot. Kanina, he was serving hard, but that time just going for that spin ball.
But just giving that point back to 3B. They save one set point, 4 more points needed for the event masters to get back in this set.
Let's see how would AEP run this final play to end this first set.
Schnacky gets the first ball. Casania goes to J-Rack. And De La Noche finishes it off. And the AEP Cabstars will take set number 1.
You know, J-Rock De La Noche always ready. And DJ Casania, alam niya na kung sino pupuntahan niya in terms of points to rack up points here for his team. And that will be J-Rock De La Noche.
Yeah, we'll talk about set 1 after the break and give you set 2 when we return. Back inside the Farewell Center in San Juan for your Spikers Turf 2026 Open Conference. We'll take a look at the highlights and what happened there. Tell us what you saw, Alfred, in that first set.
Yeah, it was start of the first set. A lot of errors piling up for the AEP Cabstars, but they managed to score and rack up points to fill out that errors there. Na alam natin, they really had a lot of firepower in terms of offense. You have Schnacky, you have De La Noche, Guaza, and even Abrot making that mark. And you want to see the attacks here. 16 versus 11. And that blocking department also went well for the Cabstars. And that lone service ace coming from Abrot. Pero see that errors, again, 9 errors is huge for a team. Especially, we know that a lot coming from the 3B were free balls, or they were really having a hard time managing well on defense, especially yung mga D-balls here coming from J-Rock De La Noche. Talagang walang blockers in front, nahihiya sila or nawawala sila sa system in terms of defense.
As you take a look at Fifi Sharma, watching this game, very supportive as well.
Yes. Yeah, if they're wondering, she's supporting that guy right over here, Jared Schnacky.
Ikaw ba ang matchmaker?
Pwede na rin siguro. Pwede. pero tingin ko number 1 matchmaker dyan si JM Ronquillo. Yeah,
Yun talaga.
sila talaga yung naging close pagdating dito ni Jared coming from the States. Talagang I paired them up because they have the same position that outside, opposite hitter. So talagang pinair ko sila when we went to Thailand for that tune-up game.
Yeah.
Sila naging roommates.
Naging besties sila.
Oh, yan. Yes, yan. An interview lang. After that interview, there, the magic happened.
Parang kumbaga nalaman niya yung mga ugay ng Tagalasal. The rest is history.
Of course.
Set 2 underway here. Jeff Piaco alongside Alfred Valbuena and Vince Abrot starting off hot here in set 2.
Again, for the 3B, they need to adjust in terms of floor defense if the Cabstars would go for a pipe or a D-ball, no?
Babawi agad. ang 3B Event Masters.
See Olay there, swinging as fast as he could. Pero yun, smarter play there. Just brushing it off the fingers of the blockers to score that point. Just like that, even Jared Schnacki is using the hands of the blockers. So yun nga, hindi naman kailangan masyadong malas yung mga palo nyo. Or when you spike the ball, it doesn't make 5 points, 3 points when you go for a first line or really bounce that hard or hit that as hard as you can. Because the point is a point. Brush it off the fingertips. Talagang drop ball lang. 1 point pa rin yun. So they need to play smart here. Talking about 3B.
Dynata back on the floor for 3B. Getting that point. Our score is 2-all here in set 2. Oh, they go middle. And Casania connecting with his middle blocker.
Yeah, that was the first attempt there. And you know, coming off the bench.
Joshua Lagmay scoring that point, and now serving for AEP Cabstars. Oh, block from De La Noche.
Wow, stuff block there coming from De La Noche. One-on-one. Single coverage blocking coming from him. Great timing. As you can see, just covering that area. Alam niya na doon mapupunta, or really that angle coming from that hitter, no? Just blocking that area, scoring that point for Cabstars.
However, service error for AEP. Again, something to be mindful about is those unforced errors, which they had a lot of in set 1.
Because, you know, a lot here coming from the Cabstars are jump servers. So it's really a high risk, high reward.
Ooh, that's a good set from Lorenzo. Right on the money, and Abrot just had to spike it away.
It's really also important for a player to have that great control, lalo na yung mga ganong second ball. Kasi anyone can be a setter here. For example, yung setter ang kumuha ng first ball, syempre kailangan lahat ready mag-set ng bola. And yun nangyari dito coming from Vince Lorenzo.
But the response coming from 3V Event Masters, we talked about how they got a lot of points from the freebies of AEP earlier. Pero aside from, you know, relying on the errors of AEP, what do they need to do in order to play better here in set 2?
First thing, they need to focus on hindi lang siguro kahit ma-deflect lang yung bola and then go for a counter-attack. Not saying to block the ball right away. They need communication and really in sync with their floor defense. No? Kasi sa blockers, na-deflect, pero yung floor defense mo hindi masyadong in position. Dun nakakapatay ang Cabstars. Just like a while ago, that second ball coming from Vince Lorenzo towards Ruben Sabrot. The defender, the libero, was too deep on that area. Kaya talagang lipad yung bola pag tumama sa'yo. And now another block point there. 4 block points in this match for Cabstars.
Yeah, you're right. Excellent point you made there. So let's see if 3B will be able to adjust, because sayang din yung mga second chance for them to counter, because the blockers have been doing their job at least to slow the ball down. That's another ace for Vince Abrot. He had one late in set 1.
Yeah,
looks like they will challenge, talking about 3B.
Ball in, ball out on that jump serve, but I think it was clearly in from my point of view here.
May discussion din yung players of the Event Masters.
Yeah, sila rin natin nakakita dun eh. And syempre, to break the momentum here of the Cabstars, like we were saying yesterday, na minsan kailangan lang talaga for the technical timeout is to stop that run from a team. Like a pseudo timeout.
Yeah. Well, let's see what the result will be here for the 3B Event Masters. Yeah, it caught the line on that serve.
Again, another service ace for Ruben Zabrot. Total of 6 points, no?
3-point lead now for AEP Cabstars. in set 2. Another bullet of a serve. Paldelavar goes outside and off the block point for Berdal.
Yeah, they need more coming from Berdal. Again, in their last matchup against Crisscross, he scored 12 points. One of the players only scoring double figures alongside Israel and Sina with 10. So again, they need to wake up this former MVP, NCAA MVP.
Guaza. And that one will go down as a point. And it will take us to the first technical timeout. His 5th point of the match as we head into this break.
You're still watching the Spikers Turf Open Conference 2026, where power meets passion. Now, even after winning that set number 1, talking about the AEP Cabstars, inamin sa akin ni Head Coach Kitty Anteporta that he and the team have actually been experiencing a lot of pressure and challenges, not just the players, but even the entire coaching staff. He shared that he still sees boundaries between the new recruits and his mainstays, and it's been quite difficult to solve this problem na dinadala talaga nila ito sa court in every game. But Coach Kitty did share that he and the management are looking into getting a sports psychologist and hosting a team building to help the team before entering the second round, and hopefully mas ma-improve pa ang chemistry ng Cabstars with these initiatives by the management. Back to you guys.
Thanks a lot, Diana, for that report. Well, that gives you a glimpse of what it looks like in their camp, no? And there are struggles, obviously, for a team. But as we take a look at that solid block from 3B Event Masters, it's a team that was composed of newcomers, bagong dagdag lang. So how challenging is that? I mean, you're also a former player yourself in a team like this. Gaano kahirap yung ganyang pagje-gel ng...
Yeah, it's very challenging, Dip, no? Siyempre, hindi mo pa sila kilala eh, as a whole. Hindi, kilala mo lang sila na as a volleyball player, pero their attitude, their, siyempre yung mindset nila as a player or as a person, iba eh. So it's really hard, especially yun nga, may gap rin in terms of age. Because you know, the Cabstars here are really young players. Pero pag pinasukan mo ng mga older or unfamiliar people, like yung nangyayari ngayon dito, that the roster, half of the roster are really new recruits, no? But, you know, the recruits here coming from Cabstars naman, they also know each other na yun eh. Yun na lang kailangan nila gawin to adapt the system and to be known by the old players coming from Cabstars. Alam natin dito, yung composition ng Cabstars are mostly coming from the signal players, championship players na rin na they had that mindset na really going, especially the work ethic is there, no? So, yun nga, kailangan din siguro nila to just gauge the attitude and yun, alamin nila kung paano yung work ethic ng mga new recruits.
And it goes for all teams.
Yes.
Na how, when, or how you'll break the ice, especially if yun nga, no, you're a new team with different personalities. Pero maganda yun to have a team building right before the second round because this is the last game day of round 1 before we transition to round 2.
And yun nga, it takes time, no? Hindi naman agad-agad. On a snap of a finger, ayos na lahat, di ba? Pati naman outside volleyball, so work more, anything, really takes time. And it's a process. Hindi naman yun na, sige, kunin na natin to, okay na tayo lahat. Champion na tayo.
Yeah, I agree. Not unless ang team building master or host mo si Ayana.
Pwede.
Mabilis
Mag-gel talaga agad-agad eh. Parang on a stop lang ng Pikit pa lang niya. Ay, okay na.
Meanwhile, AEP getting another service ace. This time, it is their middle blocker, Joshua Lagmay, off the bench. Nakakarami na ng aces, ha?
Yeah.
Yung
Again,
Cabstars.
2 points coming from Lagmay here.
Another good serve this time. Better pickup. Berdal was the one who got it. And another block. Net defense has been on point for AEP.
Just timed the ball perfectly here. As you can see, Abrot, not much of a high leaper, pero that hand positioning, no wave on the hand, that's really important and crucial for a blocker, no? Now, wag ka na mag-wave. Just cover that area automatically. And, of course, penetrate your hands over the block or over the net to block that point.
And the thing is, they only had 2 blocks in that loss against Savoj. But nakakarami na sila in this game.
They already have 5 block points in the match, while only 1 for 3B. When I talk about also service aces, 3 already for the Cabstars, while none yet for the event masters.
A bit low for Guaza, able to alter. Encina, that goes through. But a chance now for AEP. De La Noche tried to go off the blockers. Oh, overruled by the first referee. It's called a check.
J-Rock De La Noche, really smart on those kinds of plays, no? Pag alam niyang medyo dikit yung bola sa net, hindi na niya susugal na papaluin kung malakas. Just going for that tip or that drop ball, letting it touch the blocker's hands or fingertips to score a point.
Combination, almost saved. That was a good-looking play for 3B Event Masters.
Great positioning there coming from Espanso. Seeing that hole from the blockers. At yun nga, medyo nagulat ang din dito si Casania. Unable to put up that ball easily.
12-14. Lorenzo gets the first ball. And that leads to the attack of Nasguaza.
Yeah, a lot of players here on Cabstars have been racking up points, no, for the squad. And even the distribution coming from EJ Casania is on point. Mapa front row, back row. Really letting his players jive well.
15-12 is our score here in set 2. That is long for Vince Abrot.
Yeah, missed contact there. On that jump serve coming from Abrot. Pero alam natin, papabawian dito ni EJ Casania from that type attack.
Castel getting that serve in. Guaza. Those are the touches that you were talking about for 3B. Able to check the attacks, but again, this time off the block for Encina.
Yeah, Jared Schnaki should have called that block touch because Vince Lorenzo was already there to attempt the ball, pero nakita rin niya pa outside. Nahala niya hindi na touch ni Jared Schnaki, pero yeah, communication really important here. Sigaw ka lang ng check.
Yeah. Off the block, a point for Jared Schnaki.
But I think he wants to get that point, no?
Nabawi niya agad yun as we go to the second technical timeout.
Yung team po namin consists of mga veterans and mga amateur na players po. Yung iba po mga graduate ng NCAA at UAAP, yung iba naman po yung mga naglalaro sa labas. So kumbaga naging magandang opportunity itong Spikers Turf and yung Team 3B para sa mga manlalaro na naglalaro sa ligang labas. So para mas ma-expose sila and magkaroon ng experience sa mga malalaking liga.
UAAP Season 88 volleyball is in full swing. Watch the games every Wednesday, Saturdays, and Sundays on the Pilipinas Live app, also available on the UAP Varsity channel and One Sports, because legends start here. 2-point game dito sa set 2. Guaza getting the serve in. Down it goes. Off of the second technical timeout. That's what you need.
Yeah, finally a great combination play there coming from the event masters. Seeing that patong play. The blockers here of Cabstar wasn't aware that 3B was executing that play right away.
Casania goes to De La Noche.
Parang perfect pa sa back row or sa D-ball dito si Jerac De La Noche. Never missed a shot there or even an error.
Yeah. High efficiency so far from that spot. Good serve for Casania, but kept alive by 3B. However, that attack goes straight into the net.
Yeah, Bordal, of course, coming off that pass. Really having a hard time to bring the ball over.
Change of setter here, by the way, for 3B. Again, that doesn't go over for Berdal. But Ferrer tried to go back to him, pero nabasa pa rin.
Yeah. That time De La Noche again really read that ball perfectly, timed it perfectly. You can see just penetrating the hands over the block.
Bartolome now in the game to replace Berdal. Just give him a breather a little and see the game from a different view. Espanso with a dig right before that, but Lagmay just unable to get it through.
You know, sometimes it's that setter's decision. No? It's really sometimes frustrating as well as a team leader na maganda na yung nabibigay sa yung bola. It's how you execute the ball. Because you're the last touch as a spiker. You need to make ways. Or pag mababa, gawa mo ng paraan. And then after executing or after that dead ball, dun mo kausapin yung setter mo na medyo mababa.
Yeah.
Yeah. For the setter to know and even adjust.
Adjustments.
Yeah.
Speaking of adjustments, that was a good ad-lib for Schnacky. Using his offhand, a 4-point lead now for the Cabstars. Dainata, a strong attempt, but again, that was called out. Just long on the attack.
Always trying to go down the line. It's really hard for that cross-court, especially Lagmay really having that initiative to block the ball. No?
Ferrer tosses back to Dainata. Attack is wide.
Yeah, I think they will challenge this a net touch. Yeah, net fault. I think coming from Abrot there on that jump. No, he was trying to jump and block the middle blocker there.
Yeah. Tignan natin.
If ever man siya nga, second time niya na to, no? Net fault.
Pero hindi siya maamin.
Yeah.
Titignan niya tayo kung naamin ba siya o hindi.
Let's see. Pero ito makita natin sa replay.
Well, you might not have felt anything there. Let's see.
Oh, not.
It was actually Jerac.
Yeah.
De La Noche there.
Oh.
Na miss out naman. Magkamukha ba?
Hindi, pero kasi I saw him coming from the block eh. Si Abdrote. Pero that was a wrong play, I think. Yeah, before. Yeah, before
there
that.
you go.
Before that jump coming from or attempt coming from Jerac De La Noche.
Yeah, Coach RJ Francisco also seeing that it was not the play they were referring to.
Let's see. I think it was a play coming from yun nga, yung that jump coming from Abrot. Because that would be a crucial one here.
Yeah.
You know, 3B only 3 points away. Oh, Cabstars pala 3 points away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, nakita naman dun sa video, wala tayong net fault. Wala naman tayo nakita dun sa... So, okay na yan. Okay na.
So call stays. Heard the official saying wala na yung play. So it was not caught.
Yeah, not caught on the camera already. Maybe it was already far from that scene.
So it is a 6-point advantage for the Cabstars. But that long lull led to that service fault na medyo nanlamig. I saw Jared though trying to practice his jump serve but unable to send it over. It's still a 5-point lead though for AEP. Kasanya, back row, pinabawi. Si Jared Schnacky from the pipe.
Palagos ni Jared to score coming from a pipe attack. Again, it's similar from a jump serve, no, but this time, you know, it's closer. You have a lot of room to spike the ball in terms of the jump. It's different from the jump serve because it's really far from the net, no?
Ferrer was a bit low. Kept alive though by the Cabstars, pero matatawagan ng violation, the lifting.
Yeah, I think the lifting violation on Ruben Sabrot. Yeah, it touched the forearm and then the shoulders. An error again.
That puts AEP at set point, and we will have a double substitution here for the Cabstars, bringing in Dingle and Dasig.
Now we want to talk about total service errors for both squads. 3B has 5, while Cabstar has 9 service errors. That's a lot. Parang nabit-bit pa rin dito ng mga players ng Cabstars coming from the signal side.
But they saved 1 set point. 5 to go here for 3B Event Masters. Schnacky gets that one. They go to Guaza. It was called out from that setup.
The ball was quite low for Nastin on that play.
Two set points saved for 3B. Let's see what they do here. Dingle. Tough set for him. Lorenzo. Chance ball for the Event Masters. Ferrer back set. Wide for Encina, and that's how we end the second set between 3B and AEP. The Cabstars now up 2-0 over 3B Event Masters. We'll be back to give you the third set after this.
You're still watching the Spikers Turf Open Conference 2026 where power meets passion. And kasama ko ngayon ang head coach ng AEP Cabstars. Of course, head coach Kitty Anteporta. Hello, coach.
Hello po.
Coach, kitang-kita naman ngayon that you guys are up 2 sets versus the 3B Event Masters. Coach, sinabi mo sa akin kanina na medyo nahihirapan ka sa chemistry ng team mo. But maganda yung performance nila in today's game. Anong masasabi mo, coach?
Actually, yung kaninang huddle namin, maganda yung huddle namin. So, napag-usapan namin kung ano yung gagawin namin. At the same time, naging natural lang kami kung ano kami. Siguro, yung choice na nila na, di ba, maging natural. Siguro yun yung time na, kaya ganun yung game namin today.
Yes, Coach. You guys are doing extremely well in today's game. And ito naman gusto ko malaman, Coach. Of course, you have, I think, 6 players from Signal. Gusto ko malaman, Coach, ano ang naging positive impact nila sa team nyo this conference?
Positive impact kasi we know naman na meron silang best practice doon sa recent na teams nila na pwede nilang, di ba, na dalhin sa Cabstars. So actually, yung mga core namin, i-look up to mga to. So again, magandang addition po to para sa amin and hopefully magdire-diretso yung magandang ginagalaw po ng mga bata.
Yes. Thank you so much,
Thank you
Coach.
po.
And good luck in the rest of the game.
Okay, thank you.
Back to you, Dip and Alfred.
Thanks, Ayana. There you go, Coach Kitty Anteporta. Smiling, I'm sure, because of how his team is playing so far. And again, love the honesty there, recognizing the challenges that they are going through as a returning team, diba? It's been a while since they set foot here in the Spikers Turf, but also acknowledging how the core, some of the guys from Signal, are helping out dito sa kanilang team.
Yeah, definitely, because it's really the experience, no? And the personality also na coming from a top team, bringing in that experience, sharing it to the younger people here in the Cabstars. That will really play a huge factor and a huge impact in terms of team chemistry as well. So they have players who they can rely on. Yun nga, naming that 6 players coming from Signal. And yun nga, ang matutulong na lang dito is to gain experience as well and coming off the bench to show na kaya nilang makipaglaban, makipagsabayan and not to be intimidated.
Yeah.
Kasi pag maging ma-intimidate ka, talagang ikaw yung talo eh. So here, you need to be courageous as well. And you want to talk about the set statistics here from the second set. Hindi naman nagkahalayo dito in terms of attacks. Only 2 or more for the Cabstars. But it's still that blocking and especially that aces on that Cabstars that worked wonders in that second set win. But you know, the commitment as well in terms of blocking for the 3B. They need to communicate well and find more offense kung sino man pwedeng gumawa for them kasi hindi lang pwede isa. Unlike here sa Cabstars, everyone is scoring for them, no?
Yeah.
Kaya mahirap talaga in terms of blocking for the event masters. Now, not yet over for them. They need to regroup and give a player na kayang-kayang magdala.
Yeah.
No? And supportahan nila here.
Let's see if that break could spark some life to this 3B Event Masters squad. Time for them to regroup and re-strategize against the AEP Cabstars, who are now up 2 sets to none. See new faces on the floor now for 3B. A while ago, tried to bring in new players. They will begin with Ferrer as the setter. They started with Baldelavar, although Ferrer was their starter in their previous games as well. And we begin with a service error though from EJ Casania.
Yeah, Casania again trying to go for that sharp serve. Just right above that white tape. But unfortunately, that error committed.
Back set to De La Noche.
Let's see De La Noche coming from that swing. And remember, tinatawag talaga namin siya ng Panishide. Coming from that powerful swing and then that hit. It's only, even when it goes for that jump serve of his, talagang may spin and merong loop coming from that hit.
Here he goes again. This time on the other side. Back-to-back points for J-Rack de la Noche.
You can see EJ Casana, even though the ball was already on the C pass side, still manages to set it, reverse setting, coming from EJ Casana.
Berdal finds the opening. Presence of mind though for AEP. Dug by Espanso. Abrot with the approach. There's a check.
Yeah.
3 unanswered points for Cabstars.
And again, it was that Casana and Schnaki play. Because, you know, again, I was reiterating that Jared Schnaki was a setter for 5 years before back in California. Pero, syempre, he has that height. He can even spike the ball. So now he is an outside hitter.
Yeah, scramble here. And down it goes for Vince Abrot. 4 in a row.
No blockers in front of him. You can see even the blockers here of the Event Masters are scrambling. It's really hard. No? Pag walang mag-block, talagang hindi mo alam kung sino didepensahan, anong area didepensahan mo. So you need to communicate. If walang block, if hindi magko-commit sa block.
Ferrer had to chase that Encina. Straight to Espanso. Casania. Back to Abrot. That's 5 straight points for AEP and 3 straight for Vince Abrot.
So again, Vince Abrot, pag gumana siya, expect him magtuloy-tuloy. Prior from that hit, again, that confidence, once you give him that confidence, any player na bigyan mo ng kumpiyansa, talagang expect na gagawa at gagawa.
Kept alive here. Back with the red shirts. From the pipe, Jared drops. Ferrer says it is good, and they will challenge for a floor touch.
Sometimes, syempre, pag ikaw yung nakapag-pancake, if you feel, kahit konti lang maramdaman mo yung ball, akala mo good eh. Pero on a slow-mo replay, even the slightest of that ball touch the floor, that would be called a violation already.
So would you say it looks like it did touch the floor?
Yeah, it did touch the floor.
Tignan natin.
Yeah.
Even the Cabstars saw and were calling for a point, but let's see. Based on the floor touch challenge dito.
Yeah, again, it might be a timeout to break the ice, no? Coming from the Event Masters.
Yeah, after scoring the first point dito sa set 3, they have gone cold.
Pero it's still a long set. Again, they need to regroup. You're saying regroup, refocus. And you're gonna talk about both setters for both squads. But before that, floor touch. Yeah, see, definitely a floor touch there. Oh. Pero yun nga, again, pseudo timeout.
Yeah. So unsuccessful challenge here for 3B Event Masters. 6-1 is our official score in favor of AEP. The dig by Schnaki. De la Noche goes up, and that's another point for De la Noche. Coach Kitty liking the action from J-Rack.
Yeah, you know what's working well, working wonders for the Cabstars? It's that floor defense, no? Talagang nababasa nila yung bola, naangat nila kahit konti. That second effort, that initiative. Tapos set up lang ni EJ to his spikers, and a sure point coming from Abrot or even De La Noche or even Schnaki. So that's really, that is the factor here in this third set. Kaya ang laki ng lamang dito ng Cabstars.
But finally, after giving up 7 points, nakakuha sila ng isa. De La Noche though, true to his name, J-Rack racking up the points and bringing us to the first technical timeout.
You're still watching the Spiker Surf Open Conference 2026, where power meets passion. Now, after 2 years, first cousins Mark Martin of 3B and Vince Abrot of AEP are playing against each other again for the first time. And naikwento sa akin ni Mark that he is very excited about today because Vince was actually the one who introduced him to men's volleyball. So he wants to show him yung full potential niya as a player in today's game. Nakakatawa rin because they actually both live in the same home at sabay pa silang pumunta dito sa Phil. Back to you, Defan Alfred.
Thanks, Ayana, for that report. So you have some family going on here. Meron magpinsan in Mark Martin and Vince Abrot. So it's a good story. No? Ganun talaga minsan makakalaban mo yung, yung kamag-anak mo. It's fun to know that sabay pa sila going into the venue.
And you know, syempre, it's also nice that a cousin really introducing a sport to you na talagang minahalin na parehas up to now. Pero I want to talk about the attackers here on the side of AEP. 3 players already in double figures for EJ Casania because of his great ball distribution. Naming Abrot with 12 points, De La Noche with 14, and Shnaki with 12 points as well.
So 3 guys doing the damage for AEP. Abrot with another. Ikaw ba, anong na-introduce sa'yo ni Vince Abrot?
Si Vince, kung paano mag-abot ng tubig sa mga timeout, ganyan. Paano mag-cheer up.
Joyful yan diba?
Siyempre, kahit naman nasa bench ka, you need to you know, give that initiative na to cheer your teammates. Yun yung impact na mabibigay mo to give them hopes na kahit medyo parang lugmok na sila or having a hard time. Siyempre, you wanna support them emotionally and spiritually.
Yun yung role na pwede mong gawin when you're on the bench. But here in Cabstars, he's playing a major role. However, it was rejected that time from Guadalupe.
He was trying to let it touch the blocker's hand and off to the out of bounds, pero it really brushed his shoulder there. Score that point for 3B.
Still a 5-point lead though for the Cabstars. Guaza. 2 players. A miscue there between Ferrer and Encina.
Yeah, usually dapat bigay mo na yun sa mga receivers or diggers there because Ferrer, your job is to set the ball. And you know, it's same thing, communication. Encina should have called out na sa akin na lang para mabigay kay Ferrer yung bola to set up a play.
J-Rack dug this time by Berdal. Encina, it will catch the line.
Israel Encina there, off-timed on his jump. Pero still managing to score that point. Scratches the line on that D-ball. Just 5 points down here for Event Masters.
Soriano just checked in for Vince Abrot. Immediately targeted on that serve.
Dayanata having a hard serve here.
Dayanata from a plate for JRU back in college. This time better ball. And down it goes for J-Rack De La Noche.
That was a better execution here for the Cabstars. Again, De La Noche, the top scorer for the AEP with 15 points already. Giving a lot on his bag here. A new face here for AEP.
12-7. Tight. And Ferrer couldn't do much. Was called for the violation.
Yeah, net touch violation there for Ferrer. He was trying to go for a drop ball. Great find coming from Shnaki. Really jumping to close out that attempt of Ferrer.
6 na ang lamang ng AEP, but down to 5 after that service error by Guaza.
It has been that jump serves on the side of AEP that has been hurting them. Kaya ngayon, you can see Jared Shnaki adjusting to his serve. A while ago, he was going for the jump serve, now going for the float serve kasi a lot of errors nga coming from that jump.
Play on here. Shnaki had to take a step back. The push saved by Encina. Berdal swings, putting some spin on that and the help of the net.
And definitely a smart play there coming from Berdal. I was expecting that he would challenge a 3-man block. Pero yun, it was just the help of the net there to score at that point.
Back-to-back points for 3B. Schnaki's attack was slowed down. Berdal again, this time on a more powerful hit.
Yeah, slowly, the event masters are inching in. So again, they need to be consistent as well, and patience is key for them.
Service from Guadalupe is in. Casania with a 1-2. Read by Encina. Back with the Cabstars. They guided towards Shnaki. Soriano was not ready. And that's 3. Or make that 4 in a row for the event masters. AEP will call for time.
Hey guys, kailangan natin ha. Saw-saw-saw po 3. Kailangan natin one stop ha. Jay, Jay. O, nawawala yung energy natin. Hindi tayo nakipag-communicate. Ha? Aggressive lang tayo sa atake. Ha? Pag binigay sa'yo ha. Yes po. Oh, let's go. One good pass now. Tara, usan natin to. Go.
Dalawa lang. Ayun lang mo.
Here from the timeout, aggressiveness. Yeah, because kahit up ka 2 sets, pero hindi pa tapos yung laro eh.
Yeah.
Minsan doon nadadali yung mga teams na who are up 2 sets, they become relaxed or complacent in that 3rd set. Kaya natatalo sila. Pero ngayon, let's see, they're calling it challenge here.
Invisibly, yung energy na nabanggit ni Coach Kitty Anteporto talagang bumaba.
Oo.
I mean, they led already by as many as 6 points. Pero I guess you don't want to be too relaxed. Even if lamang ka ng ganyan. They're trying to close it out in straight sets. But of course, 3B will not go down without a fight. Let's mention some of the numbers here in set 3. 3B already with 2 blocks. That's a department that they failed to capitalize on in the first 2 sets. Cabstars naman, di pa nakakuha ng block. Tapos yung errors, AEP having more than 3B. They have 3 errors, only 1 for the event masters.
Finally, after that Shnaki hit, AEP scores a point. Unsuccessful challenge there for 3B.
They tried to challenge for a ball out, but it was right on the money. Casania already with 16 excellent sets. Saved by Ferrer. Berdal. And cross-scored in for Carl Berdal, who cuts the lead down to 2.
You know, for the AEP Cabstars, they need to adjust in terms of blocking, especially if Carl Berdal is there in front. Because it's really his powerful line or main line, attacking line is that cross-court. They need to cover that area, especially coming from J-Rock de la Noche. No? He was too close to the antenna, freeing that area for him.
Jared Shnaki with a reply for AEP. Setback. Second try, still nothing. Good effort by Shnaki to save it. Soriano with the gather there. Berdal. Oh, Shnaki having to work hard at the back. De la Noche scores the point.
Finally, another point here for AEP. That was a great scramble and team effort. Doon makita mo Shnaki just diving for the ball.
Yeah.
And EJ Casana with a great balance to set up that hit coming from J-Rock de la Noche.
Still here inside the Phil Oil Center in San Juan for Spikers Turf 2026 Open Conference first match. And it is the AEP Cabstars leading the way over the 3B Event Masters 2-0 and looking good here in the third set, 16-12. That's a save by Casania. J-Rack still alive. They transfer to Soriano and down it goes for Soriano.
Yes, Soriano now scoring a point out of a hit. Everyone rejoicing after that point, no? And yun yung maganda dito, coming from EJ Casania, giving his players confidence and that trust to score a point.
Berdal trying to make do. Oh, Jared has been great at the back.
Definitely.
Soriano this time comes up short.
Parang medyo na-conscious na siya doon.
Inaabangan ng teammates na makascore.
Sometimes it all boils down to that mental toughness. Ooh.
Outside for Berdal.
That would hurt them. Again, you can see the body language here on the 3B Event Masters. Parang it seems like they want to just finish things off na go, hoping for a miracle and errors for AEP. Pero syempre they need also that adjustment in terms of the system for the 3B. They need to make ways or plan out how would they manage to score points against AEP.
Chance for Event Masters. And they capitalize on that, courtesy of Encina.
And there you go. Again, sure point is a must here for the Event Masters.
In comes Mark Martin. First cousin of Vince Abrot. No?
Oh, sayang hindi lang sila nagkaabot dito.
Oo. Service error there for 3B Event Masters. Axel DeFeo couldn't send it in. Back to a 4-point game. It is De La Noche's turn to serve for AEP. Ferrer chooses Dainata. Schnacky. Espanso kept alive here. And a point by Guadalupe, who loved that set from Ferrer.
Yeah, great setup there coming from Ferrer. Well, you know, Nasquaz again just looking at the ball. He wasn't ready for that attempt because it's really rare for Ferrer to set up that quick play. But that time, fooling Nasguaza.
This is only a 3-point game. Coach Kitty opting to go for a double substitution, bringing in Dingle and Dasig. And those two off the bench will connect. Oh.
Yeah, the young stars here, the young squads coming from the AEP Cabstars, showing impact. Coming off the bench, yun, scoring right away. Yun yung maganda dito for a coach na alam mong pwede mong pagkatiwalaan yung mga bench players mo.
You're right. The trust shown to his younger guys, and they pay off that trust from their head coach.
Again, now Nasguaza needs to adjust and really commit to Guadalupe because he has been scoring a lot now in the latter part of this set.
16 serving 20. Tainata on deck. Lorenzo delivers it to Dingle. They go to Guaza. That was the play in mind. They signaled that before the serve. However, hindi lang maipasok.
You can see that attempt coming from Guaza.
Yeah.
Too much power.
Timeout. Cabstars.
Diba? Kailangan sure lang tayo sa gagawin natin. Atakihin na natin. Okay lang yun. Okay lang yun. O, bawi tayo.
Up! Hey, Cubs! 5!
Timeout here called by AEP Cabstars. Tainata back to serve. This is only a 2-point lead. AEP not yet safe here in the third set. Lorenzo got that. Dingle goes back to Guaza. This time, a better attack.
Yeah, Guaza there. Making a mark, making a hole on the floor. That bounce ball coming from Guaza. Siguro na sabi na, ayoko namang outside lang yung palo ko bago ko umikot sa likod.
And now he will serve. Ferrer chooses Berdal. Soriano gets it. Dingle with a toss to Schnacky. Way out for Jared.
Yeah, ball was too far on that hit coming from Schnacky. Medyo may giggle dun.
So only one starter on the floor now for, well, two starters including Vince Lorenzo for the Cabstars. Him and Jared along with their second stringers. Let's see what they do here. Dingle goes to the opposite. Picked up by Dainata. Ferrer sets up Berdal. The drop doesn't work. Lorenzo will guide it towards Jared. Schnacky scores off the block.
Again, Vince Lorenzo again with that perfect second ball toward Jared Schnacky. You know, really crucial for the setup coming from that second ball. And Schnacky, he is a high leaper. Pag bigyan mo ng mataas na bola yan, he can really adjust to it.
So that's it for the double substitution. Casania back with Jerac de la Noche. 3-point lead, and they are 3 points away. Defeo scores.
I think that's the first point of Axel Defeo. Medyo, I don't want to say it's too late for the 3B na ba't ngayon lang nila nilabas yung mga middle attacks nila. But it has been working perfectly in this third set, giving the Cabstars a hard time defending the ball. But another error there coming from Ferrer.
23-20. Schnacky with the serve. May onting beaten from Encina. Kept alive by Espanso. Soriano attacks. Kept alive. Berdal breaks the block. Still alive.
Yeah, they're still alive here for the 3B Event Masters. Again, first thing they need to do is serve hard. Then commit to the block, man. There are spikers here. That's one. Ooh.
Nobody home, and De La Noche finds the sweet spot, and more importantly, putting AEP Cabstars at match point.
It's really hard to figure out where Jerac de la Noche would hit the ball. No? Minsan, down the line, long ball, sharp cross.
And that one went out. That's it. AEP Cabstars will win this one in straight sets. They earn their second W in the Open Conference in convincing fashion and solidify their spot at the fourth.
I know this game here is crucial and important as well, no? na you want to gauge your position in the league, especially as a team. Wherein before this match, they're tied at 1-3.
Yeah.
Pero ngayon, Cabstars up, having 2 wins now, and they can tell na kaya nilang lumaban in this conference. You just need experience and more time for them to get that rhythm or that flow going, no?
Yeah, we'll talk more about this and wrap it up after this short break.
You're still watching the Spikers Turf Open Conference 2026, where power meets passion. And that concludes Game 1 for today's triple header. AEP Cabstars winning against the 3B Event Masters in just 3 sets. And joining me now is the best player of the game, EJ Casania. Yes, EJ, congratulations. 1 block and 18 excellent sets. Grabe. Alam ko na naging struggle sa inyo yung team chemistry. And of course, as a setter, napaka-important yun for you. You activated, I think, more than 3 attackers in today's game. What do you have to say about yung performance mo today as a setter?
During the past games kasi namin, sobrang nagkakapaan pa talaga kami. So, itong mga remaining games ngayon, lalo ngayon sa first round, pinapractice namin yung mga kulang pa sa amin. And alam talaga namin na marami pa talagang kulang. And evidently naman na sa 3 weeks na preparation namin, talagang lumabas ngayon sa first round. So, itong game namin ngayon, it's a big win. Na sana baunin namin ito ngayon sa second round and para makapag-ready pa kami sa mga games.
Now, EJ, in terms of excellent sets, alam ko na medyo nababasa mo talaga yung blockers ng 3B. How were you able to learn this? Ano yung naging siguro usapan nyo with your team in terms of reading the blockers of 3B?
For me naman, lagi ko lang sinasabi sa mga spikers ko na mag-ready sila palagi sa pagbibigyan ko sila ng bola. And kung di man sila makapatay, okay lang. Sabi ko, sige, bawi na lang next ball. So, para sa next ball naman is makabawi talaga sila. Kasi minsan, yung mga spiker kapag hindi sila nakapatay, na da-down agad sila. So, ako naman, ina-up ko sila para makabawi sila.
Yes, thank you so much, EJ, and congratulations as a leader ka dito sa AEP. And syempre, I'm sure meron kang gustong i-shoutout. Go ahead, EJ.
Binabati ko yung wife ko and yung family ko. Nandiyan sila sa likod. Ayan. And yung baby ko. Thank you sa pagsuporta sa akin palagi. And sa lahat ng sumusuporta sa Spikers Turf and sa sumusuporta sa Cabstars sa team namin ngayon.
Yes, once again, this is EJ Casania, our best player of the game. 1 block and 18 excellent sets from the AEP Cabstars. Back to you, Dip and Alfred.
Thanks so much, Ayana, as a courtside reporter. At player of the game natin, si EJ Casania. Talked about the adjustments that they made. But as you go along in the tournament, Alfred, you'll earn the chemistry and you'll get a feel more of ano yung galawan ng teammates mo.
Yeah, yun nga. I was saying a while ago, it really takes time, no? As a new team.
Yeah.
Siyempre, going into the league, 3 weeks of preparation only. That's really short for one team na to go up in this match. Alam natin, it's really one of the high-level competition here in the Philippines, yung Spiker Surf. So, at least now, paunti-unti, like sinasabi ni EJ, through training, they really practice that chemistry, and he's really a leader. Nakikita natin na he really is boosting up the confidence of his teammates after an error, lifting them up. Pero I know the first round is over. We still have a second round, another new batch for them na going up against the teams again. So they need to bring that composure, and their win here against the 3B Event Masters going into the second round. You can see the attacks in the third set, 20 against 11. Kitang-kita, evidently na mas mataas talaga ang pinperform dito ng Cabstars. While the errors coming from them is still huge with 7, pero walang blocks and aces. That's rare for them in that third set, no? Maybe kasi yun nga, the floor defense rin was really working well, and a lot coming from the errors also of the 3B Event Masters.
Right, so that wraps up our first match. Today we have 2 more coming up. Up next we have VNS going up against Alpha Insurance, still here at the Philo Center in San Juan, and on One Sports Plus and the Pilipinas live app. Thank you so much for joining us as we continue to close out our round 1 matches. AEP Cabstars winning in straight sets over 3B Event Masters. On behalf of our courtside reporter Ayana Perlas, my partner Alfred Valbuena, and our director